Guys, Coops here from the Whole Box and Dice. Hope you're, enjoying the first 24-hour fallout from the Emrakul Reflector Mage, and Smugglercopter is now banned in Standard. Suck shit, Aether Work Bomb, and Greenback Delirium. It's brutal. The vitriol on Reddit is great, loving the discussion. Gee, I hope it's not a precedent, but I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. But we're not here to talk about that because it's good. I could just go on with that for ages because it's just so intense. Yeah, there's some infinite combos that's still floating around. I don't know. Let's not start that. Spoken about that way too much today with everyone, but that's been great discussion. We're here to talk about the lovely planes of Aether Revolt and where white is going. And there is some bomb cards in this color. It is crazy. This is definitely going to be a color that you can make the majority of your pre-release deck out of, and it looks like there's going to be some really solid cards in Constructed. And I've highlighted a couple that didn't quite make the cut, but there was just lots of really, really, really good cards. So props to white. Let's see if we can make this a thing. So like we did in the last video, I'll check up some of the honorable mentions, and we'll start off with the Solemn Recruit. It is a 3-mana, it's generic and 2 white dwarf warrior creature for 2/2 with double strike, and with revolt, if something's left the battlefield at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on this lovely double strike recruit. So that's super solid, great creature, buffs itself, and revolt's easy to trigger, and this looks like a solid card. Anything with double strike, always solid. So we'll see where the recruit fits in. Aether Geode Miner is a dwarf scout for 2. It's generic and a white, and whenever it attacks, you get 2 energy, pay 2. Exile it, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. Another super, super solid card. I like that it protects itself with the energy it generates from when it attacks. And the fact that if it gets into trouble, you can bring it back and declare it as a blocker, and as long as there's no trample, you can keep playing around with that combat trick. So, solid card. I like the Aether Geode Miner a lot. Especially it's a 3/1 for 2. 1 toughness, super squishy, but it's got ways to make up for it. Call for Unity is a really interesting enchantment at 5, 3 generic and 2 white. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield, put a Unity counter on it. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call for Unity. Another super solid card. It probably would have made the detail video if it came out with 1 counter. That would have been really cool. If it just came out with a counter already on it. And the fact you could get a second counter on it, at the beginning of that, your end step, because another permanent left, I'd really like that, but it could be a bit broken. Who knows? It's one of the really interesting ones to see. There's just so much enchantment removal in the format. I don't know if this is going to get a chance. And then you've spent 5, and just quickly, finally, Thopter Arrest. Enchantment for 3. It's kind of like a better version of Isolation Zone, kind of. It's 1 cheaper. You can target artifacts instead of enchantments with it, and you obviously can take out creatures until it leaves. But once again, enchantments can be removed relatively easily, so we'll see how it goes. But, they're just some of the cards I wanted to speak about first before we jumped into the spotlight, because the first one is a huge flying bomb. It's the Dawn Feather Eagle, and it's a 5, 4 generic and a white, and it's bird creature, and when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. This will be a great common. This will be a great common in the set. This will kill it in limited. This will definitely help you in your pre-release and some of the early drafts, just when the meta's trying to sort itself out. It's a flyer. It's like a body and always watching kind of thing. It's a really, really solid card. I really like this Dawn Feather Eagle, and I'm sure it'll be a solid card in the early meta, and certainly a pre-release. So if you can grab a couple of these, definitely do, because they'll be a nice addition to your deck. And flyers are always difficult to deal with in a limited environment as well. So Dawn Feather Eagle, super solid. Next card that we're going to be looking at today, and that one is Decommission, and it is just straight up artifact or enchantment removal at instant speed for 3, and it has the revolt trigger as well. If a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you gain 3 life. Really, really like this. And I really like this because there are a lot of enchantments that when they get played, they exile a creature or exile an artifact or exile an enchantment. In response, you can kill this or you can destroy it. And one of your permanents will have left the battlefield because it will have been affected by the cast trigger of their artifact or their enchantment, so you'll get the 3 life. So I really, really like this about the card. Revolt's not hard to get anyway, but I like that you can use this in response to save one of your things and get the life trigger for it as well. And if you've got a Lone Rider out there, Lone Rider flips, so that's annoying for them as well. So like this card. Next card that we're going to be looking at, and this one is Conviction, which is an enchantment aura for 2, generic and a white. Enchant creature, gets +1/+3, and pay 1, return Conviction to its owner's hand. This is dumb. This is a really, really dumb card. 1 mana to trigger Revolt. That's crazy. I spoke about wanting to play the Banned Investigate deck with Sigarda's Aid. You can flash this on for 1. That's dumb. Save a creature. Buff a creature, heaps of applications for this card. Really, really like this one. So this will be an annoying combat trick, and I will be doing this a lot, and it will be so easy to get Revolt off this. It's crazy. Talk about white-black being a thing, having things like this, and then you can Fatal Push something and grab a 4 converted mana cost dude, which is just, so annoying. So really, really like this card. Next card that we're going to look at is the Restoration Specialist, and it's a Dwarf Artificer for 2, a generic and a white. It's a 2/1, pay 1, sack it, return up to 1 target artifact and 1 target enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. Super, super solid. You get a nice body on the floor, on the ground. You can use it to glare for a block. You can pay the mana as well to then sack it, get the cards back. I really like this about the card, and it's only cost 2. So it's early enough that you can get it down, and you might even get a swing in. And you might even get 2 damage in before they have a response to something like this, and get a little bit of damage off it as well. So refilling your hand is never, ever a bad thing. And I like this is attached to the body, so it has that second application and it has a bit more flexibility. Next card we're going to look at, and we're going to continue the theme of showing the expertises and the legendary creatures that are coupled with that. And this one is SRAM. SRAM, Senior Edificer for 2, a generic and a white. It's a legendary creature, which is a Dwarf Advisor. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Really, really solid, this guy. Like I said, we've just seen Smuggler's Copter's gone. The loot is obviously nowhere near as good as Smuggler's Copter. It takes a couple of interesting slots. Does this free up a 2 slot now in that red-white vehicles deck to continue that card draw? Because that made that deck really difficult to deal with, the fact that you were getting such great card selection by having Copter out there. This guy's obviously a lot more squishier, a lot easier to remove, but keep casting those spells, and if he sticks around and gets you, 2, 3, 4 cards, then he's been pretty solid for all of 2 mana there. So we'll see about Saram, but his expertise is mega dumb, and that is the Sorcery for 4, which is 2 generic and 2 white, and create 3 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature tokens. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. SRAM, your little glass counting man, damn, this is crazy. Everyone's talking about Yahini. You can use this, and you can play something like a Liliana after you've cleared the board, but that affects your side of the board, right? Which is not always good. This just is hey, drop a Planeswalker for 4 and have 3 blockers up for it, which is that's annoying. That's super, super annoying. If you could create 3 1/1s where every time you cast a Planeswalker, you just play Super Friends every single day. So I really like SRAM's expertise. I like that for 4, you get a card for 4 as well. And the blockers, there'll be heaps of dumb applications with this. I'm pumped for the hopeful 5-color expertise deck, but I love that you can drop a Planeswalker on the back of this, and you can then use it to protect it with a couple of blockers before it even has a chance of doing its first ability. So really, really like SRAM's expertise. And look, I'm gonna talk about the Angel. We're gonna bring this one up here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this one, but it's the Exquisite Archangel for 7. It's 5 generic and 2 white for flying. If you would lose a game, instead exile it, and your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. How do we feel about this card? The only reason I bring this up, The only reason I bring this up is that this card is kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. I kind of wish you could exile it from your hand as well, but then it would probably be too broken. But now that Aetherworks Marvel has lost Emrakul, there was a really interesting Aetherworks build which was Angels instead of Titans. And it played things like Bruna, and it played things like Emiria Shepherd, and it played things like Gisela, and it would probably play stuff like this and Linvala. And I wonder if that has a chance now. You know, this is an expensive card at 7. There's some really solid pieces in white. There's some nice removal that they've put in. There's some good early game creatures that Aether Revolt now brings to the table. And I do wonder if something like this is going to be competitive. You know, when you get the meld off on the Angels and it shuts out 3 or less converted mana spells, that makes the game really tough for a lot of players. And just maybe, I don't know, maybe the Angels Aetherworks deck is a thing. So fingers crossed, I don't know. But I wasn't going to include it, but I thought it was worth mentioning just purely because of that. You know, the ability's pretty janky. I don't know if you play Providence with this now, so you can go to 26, so you can go back to 26, but then you've got to run multiple copies to get that off. But once again, Providence could be a good target for Aetherworks if you've taken some beating in the early game. I don't know, lots of questions with white now, and lots of questions with Aetherworks Marvel, really, and is that still a viable thing? But that's white there, and like I said, if you get some solid white cards in your pre-release, play them, because I think it's going to be an annoying colour to deal with. It's got a good amount of early game. It's got some really good removal that's relevant for the format, and whilst it's probably lacking kind of some of that top-of-the-curve kind of finishing power, you make enough, you know, little Thopters and Servos and smaller creatures. You give them all plus maybe 3 by the time you've got a Unity and a Bird down, and Vigilance, do a lot of damage. You can do a lot of damage. So, you know, let me know. Have I missed something? Am I completely off the mark with some of these? Is Aetherwork Angels going to be a thing? You know, kind of wouldn't mind seeing if that becomes a thing. I don't know. It would be it'll be a bit sneaky because they're probably not expecting a dominant Aetherworks deck. So something's going to step up. Something's going to step up and take its place. So we'll see. We will see. But you know the drill, guys. You know, hit the like button if you enjoyed the content. Hit subscribe if you want to see the next one, which is going to be black, which will be the last of the mono-colored. Then I'll kind of talk about some of the dual-colored cards and probably the artifacts and then the land. I think there's only 1 land in the set, as there's normally not too many in the second half of a block. And we'll have a chat about that. So, you know, thanks for sticking around, and can't wait to keep chatting Magic with you guys and see what's on the cards. Peace.